computer. Okay, off you go. It's all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. Good to have you guys on. Great to hear some of the homework responses. Good to hear that more people have done the homework. Again, you're adults. This is us not trying to coach you on being a student in a tiny school, in a primary school. This is about helping you get your goals faster. So if you haven't done the homework, feel free to go back and do it. It just helps to enhance and put in your subconscious goal to meet that will help you advance quicker. Today, we're going to be looking at the training on how to present to your potential clients. So I guess before I get started, one thing I want to ask you guys, and I want you to respond by chat, or we'll get one or two people maybe to unmute and respond, is what are the roadblocks you might be finding, just to get a feel of where you guys are at? What are the roadblocks you might be finding in getting people to sign up? Just to get some thoughts from you. Some of you might have no issues. Some of you might be afraid to approach people or not know how to approach them. Any comments? Just put on your chat group, or maybe get one or two people to unmute and share. How are they finding being able to sign people up? What are the roadblocks that they're facing? Because then I'll tailor what I'm sharing today to help towards answering some of those questions. You can either type it in or you can unmute. Shailendra, go for it.
Yeah, look, the problem that I'm finding is people look at it with very sort of, attention. They say it is too good to be true. So that's one thing. And the other thing which I face is, okay, why are you sort of telling it? What do you stand to gain from it? So these are the two questions which we have to counter most of the time.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Excellent. That's the sort of feedback I want to get.
Michelle,
so I can get.
Michelle's always there.
Yeah, Michelle.
I just find sometimes some of the people that I present to, they're quite interested, but they're just not ready. They haven't got their finances ready. And so I have to work at keeping them engaged and interested, so that when they are ready in 3 months, 6 months, whatever, that they still come back to me. I still keep the interest, whet their appetite without being pushy. That's a bit of a fine balance, keeping them interested without being pushy. But some people just aren't quite ready for whatever reason. Their funds are tied up in something else, or, it's a new concept, so they need a little bit of time to think about it.
Beautiful. Good comment. Just a response to that, Michelle. You may want to look at the idea of, if they're still interested but just the finance, is getting them signed up, so that when they're ready, everything's done, and that gives them that momentum, and maybe getting them onto onto the broadcast list, so they still get to hear every month, oh man, we got this return. Might be a good idea, and that's something to help others as well. Any one or two others? People ask iPhone, if it is too good, why TFX is not listed publicly? Okay, is it a good one? Anyone else having roadblocks that they're just needing to get answered today? You can write it down on the chat, or you can just unmute and share. Why it's not regulated? Awesome. Okay. Payment methods is another roadblock. Okay. A little bit more information on that, Rajnesh, in terms of why is that a roadblock? Directly from bank accounts. Oh, we can do it from bank accounts, but yeah, there are different ways. Bad reputation when they do their own due diligence, registered overseas. Okay, account name is not under a company name. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, guys. Great. Well, I'll cover some of these in the presentation. Anything I don't cover, we have time afterwards for Q&A. We will. There are 2 sessions today. This is mine on how to present to your potential clients. Then we will do some handling of resolutions and issues, how to resolve some of the issues and handle them. And then we won't have breakout rooms today, so it's a full teaching for the last session. However, feel free to know that we are on the WhatsApp group. If you haven't yet joined the QIB WhatsApp group, do let us know so we send you the link so you can join in. There's continuous support around the business end there. So we've already done this kind of review, but let me just go through a quick, just making sure we're on board with everything. So basically this is you. I like drawing. I'm not very good at it, so just bear with me, but it's something that will remind you of. If you sign up any person, doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be minimum. There's no minimums. Every time you sign someone up in the business, from a business side of things, is you get a 5% rebate. It's over 12 months, okay? And it's a one-off payment. Dr. John covered a bit more about the information and the details of that in the last session, which is recorded. So if you have missed it, you can go back, look at it. If you have 5 people signed up under you, you now step into the QIB status. You become a QIB, a qualified introducing broker, and you have access to commissions, which is that 30% that we talk about. The next step is to now start to build your funds further, maximize your commissions. There's about 4 levels in each on the first set of commissions. You want to maximize them. I often say focus on 2 and build up from there. And then as Pops Matthew said, if you can aim for 1 million for every 1 million commissions under you, AUM total, not you putting that 1 million in, there's about a 35,000K per annum USD. That is a rough estimate of what sort of money you can get back. This is something just for you, if you're not aware of, for you to know and to tell your IBs as well. We do have a Dropbox link. It's on our both on our Telegram and on our WhatsApp group. It has a lot of information there that's great, including prospectus of all the different fund managers as well, and we keep it as updated as possible. This thing on the right, I'll talk more through it later, but this is kind of the basic way I use to kind of help find clients. I call it the 4 soil test. It is from the Bible that I used, and it really has helped me. It's kind of what Michelle was saying. You've got people who are ready, but there's some people who are they're committed. They want to do something, but they're not ready. They don't have the money yet. Okay, and so working out which group of people there are, and the good news is it's only a quarter of people generally that are going to say no, I'm not interested, I'm not ready, not committed. These guys are easy, they're ready and committed. The other 2 are the ones you have to really do your work on. And again, it's a rewarding work. Help them get a better opportunity for their lives as well. And we always say it's an invitation. We never force people into any of this. We talked about these goals. So we've already had a chat about them. This was the homework that Dr. John gave you. I want to just focus on number 6, and that's about what we're going to be doing today. Think about the potential people you would like to share this good news opportunity with. Which soil are they part of? How will you help them get to ready and committed? And I'll give you more information and training on that as we go along. Okay. But that's kind of my question number 6 for you guys to work on. As always, guys, I have to put this disclaimer on. It's really important. And as when you guys also present to others, it's really important you tell them that you're not a financial expert. You're just giving suggestions. You're giving your story. You're giving information. You're in no way are you a financial expert to give them advice. So the word advice is very important that you don't do. If someone calls me up and says, hey, can I get some advice? I always correct them, even if they misuse the word and didn't mean it that way. I always say, I can't give you advice, but I can give you suggestions. Okay. And really important is QIBs, as you help others, that you say that I'm giving you suggestions, not advice. Especially if you're in Australia, that is very, very important. Okay. Are we all clear on that? Can I get a yes in the chat group? That we're clear on that, because that is very vital, very important that we understand that is to protect you guys and to protect others as well. Good. We're getting about 3 yeses. Hopefully there's about 40 plus of us here. I want to see more yeses here. Disclaimers are extremely important, please. Okay. Make sure you disclaim you're not qualified, because you'd have to do a course to be qualified and you'd have to have certification. So tell them to talk to their accountant or their financial planner. But what you're giving is suggestions, okay? So having the right mindset, let's get started on this. Really important. So setting up a business using TFXI, the TFXI platform, means moving from an investor mind to a business mind. I hope that makes sense to you. You're not just an investor anymore. When you're an IB, you're an investor. When you start building into the business end of things, you're moving into the business mindset. What does that mean? If you don't like business, well, you're going to have to start learning. And it's part of the journey today. How do I get prospectors? Now, this is my definition of business. Business should be a profitable enterprise that works without you and frees up your resources of money and time to do the things you want to do. Okay. I love the fact that Chalinda said, I'm going to make this my number one business. This is my primary business because I can get out of my work. Absolutely. I can say to you that I spend only a few hours a week working on the business and nothing in the business. I don't work in the business, and it's just really, really rewarding. Frees up my time, resources to do the things that I want to do. This is quite important where it says go for your number one dream, not your goals. It's not about how much money we want to make, it's what we want to do with the money that counts. Whenever I talk to anyone, I don't worry so much about the money they want to make. Oh, I just want to make 50,000 extra. I want to make $1 million extra. Okay, what are you going to do with that? What's that going to help you with? Or it'll help me travel around the world, or it'll help me pay children's fees to go to private school, or it'll help me my wife to not have to work more, or my husband to retire earlier. So those are the dreams you want to go for yourselves and to help others as well. So business should be profitable enough to achieve your dreams. And TFXI, the business end, certainly helps you with that. When approaching others with this business, don't be arrogant or unsure. So don't go on one side where you're really arrogant about, hey, you need to sign up for this. This is the most important thing that's ever going to happen in your life. Like, don't be pushy. Don't be arrogant. On the other hand, don't be so unsure about this. You have to have a mindset that is confident of your product. Is that making sense to you? Like if you walk into some place and say, hey, look, I don't want to be pushy, but I just got this idea of this investment, but I don't want to. If you're coming with that, that's a wrong attitude. It's just as bad as an arrogant attitude. Okay. What you want to be is confident. And that's really important. Having the right mindset that you're switching over to a business mind is really important. Some of you might have had negative views about business. Hang around Pops, Matthew, and myself. You will change that quite quickly, because this is part of being in business. I am the best relational marketer that I have met, and anyone else so far hasn't told me of anyone better than me in relational marketing. Okay, because marketing is education. I don't think you'll hear that anywhere else. If you learn to educate people, like right now, I'm selling to you, I'm marketing. If you learn to educate people on the benefits and how it'll help them, forget about trying to sell the product. Just work on how it helps them. Sales is just it's inevitable. It's a natural process that takes place. Everyone okay with that? So don't focus on sales. Just focus on marketing. What is marketing? Education. Just think of it that way. I'm educating somebody if they're ready to learn. Okay, and I'm just throwing out some seed there and seeing if they're interested. In TFXI, the most effective method of signing others up is through relational marketing. What is relational marketing? Build bridges of relationship. Don't do cold calling. I don't see that working the best way. You can if you want to, but I know, Pops, would you agree with me? Like both of us, I think, have built up this huge multi-million AUM under us based around relationships.
Absolutely, yeah.
Most of the time, we don't call. I don't call. I've never cold called. I don't know if you have.
It's easier to, much better, easier to do than try making a cold call effort.
Absolutely, and people trust you with relationships, especially when they want to know if it's a scam or not. Is this trustworthy? Like I've just had a friend, one of my friends who just spoke with me, and he's actually my trainer. And he asked me, how do I know this is not a Ponzi? And because of relationship, because he wants to talk to others. Now he's jumped in and he's signed in and he's really happy. But I just said to him, well, a Ponzi cannot last from 2009 till now if it was a Ponzi, because that's not their motivation. Their motivation would be jump in, grab your money, jump out, because it's a scam. So he said, oh, that's a great answer. I go, well, it's a true answer. It's an experiential answer. and 6 years, I've been in it, Pop 7 years has been in it. We've not had any issues and the way they've shut down some of their fund managers have been really well. When it's finished, they shut it down with great integrity. They release all the funds to the investors. Brilliant. Okay, but that's relational. So that's relational marketing is the key. And if you don't know about it, go find out more about it. Okay, it's exciting when you understand relationship marketing and how that works. CTFXI is a great opportunity for your family, friends, and acquaintances. Okay, I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to share good news? Shalindra was mentioning, okay, people ask what's in it for you. I'm upfront with people. Yeah, I do get a commission. Are you okay with that? 5% of what you get doesn't touch your returns. Those of you who've seen my presentation, I just say it up front. Are you okay with that? But the funny thing is, most people I talk to, because I'm talking about their dreams and I'm not trying to push them and just trying to get a win and get my commissions coming in, most people don't even bother to ask me that. And I actually have to volunteer that information because they're just excited that I want to help them. And I'm at a place where I'm cool. I'm okay. As I've learned from the scriptures, as you help others, you yourself are helped. As you water others, you yourself are watered. So my focus has always been in relationship marketing is how can I help you first? And I can suggest highly that you do that because people can work out if you're trying to do it for your own selfish reasons. Okay. And I guess we're all adults here. We've grown up. We've had some level of marketing done to us or we do to others. We've seen the frustrations. I've been in MLM for many years. In the past, I've set up my own businesses. And, I can tell the difference when I'm desperate for a sale and when I'm just okay to help others. And I found the greatest growth is when I help others out. Don't prejudge anyone. Sow seeds everywhere and harvest where there is a positive response. Why is that important? Because I found that some people that I thought would put in have never put in. And the others I thought I will never put in. Or this lady is just like, she's not ready. And surprised me to bits. I remember a story of just being in the skate park. Part of our church group goes to the skate park every 2 weeks, and we would in Australia, and we just reach out to people there, say hi, be friendly with people. And so there was a guy who came there who was brought in by one of our team I hadn't met before, and he's a young fellow, 18 years of age. And in conversation with him over about an hour, because relationships take time to build, told him about TFXI because he was kind of moving towards that direction. And I, in me, it's like, I don't know, this guy can afford it. He's 17, 18 years of age. So he asked a lot of questions, a bit skeptical. The guy who brought him was a guy who was always saying yes, never putting in. So I just, you can prejudge, and I was prejudging him. The guy started with 1,000, and in a year he went from 1,000 to 15,000. Like, I literally had to keep calling him and saying, "Hey, bro, can you not put all your money in because I don't want you to lose all of it?" It's like, no, I'm still young. If I lose it, it's all right. He's got his younger brother in. He's got his family. Like, he's just so excited. He's producing income. He says almost matching his work. Like, don't prejudge people. Had another guy who's a business tyrant. When he heard about this, he's like, "I'm going to put 200,000 in. I'm ready. I've got the money." He showed me the money. I'm still waiting for the money to come in. It's been about 2 years. Nothing's happened. So don't prejudge, guys. Okay. Sow seed everywhere and test the soil. Start by creating a list of potential people you would like to approach. Remember, you have the whole world as your potential marketplace. There's 7.4 billion people in the world. We have access to nearly 70% of that through social media. That is amazing. So you don't have to try to get it perfect. Okay, don't perfect your pitch or anything like that. Natural is better, even if you're not sure. Like, when I first started, I'd say, "Guys, I don't know a whole lot. I've just been testing this for a year because I didn't get into the business until my second year." I said, "I've been testing it for a year. I've got some good returns. I don't know everything, but if you have questions, I can get you to speak to Matthew." And that's how I started. Okay, don't perfect things. Now I'm hugely confident in helping others. You only need 20 to 30 signups to make this work for you. Do you guys know that? You don't need like hundreds and hundreds of people on your first level. Like, literally, I've only got between 20 to 30 people in my levels for me to hit my first set of goals that I was first, second, and third set of goals that I was very happy with. Okay, so you don't need a whole lot. as Pops Matthew says, repetition leads to mastery. Just give it a go and keep going till you get there. So having the right mindset is really important. Start with your phone database of contacts. I think Dr. John is very good at sharing with you. How many of you got one of these? If it's on an Apple, it's all right. We'll forgive you today. But if you got one of these, everyone's got a phone. Like you've got contacts in it. Open your contacts. Check how many you've got. Like, let's do that right now. Open your contacts. Go to the total and write down in there how many contacts you have, just out of an interesting exercise. How do we get to the total? Again, Dr. John, I remember you showing us this in the last training. Oh, here we go. Woo, 6,091 contacts. Man, I got to get
scroll all down. Just scroll. Go to your contact and just scroll all to it ends. You'll see the total.
6,091. Guys, I'm not as popular as I pretend to be, but I don't know why I've got so many contacts. What about others? 2,572, 215. Look at that. You guys have got contacts. What about others? Go and check how many contacts you got. 800. Awesome. Look at that. On 1,500. Anyone else? What sort of, hey, can anyone beat mine? 6,091. I can't believe I have that many. Good grief. That's a struggle. I better send them Christmas cards. Start now itself. Great. So what about others? Come on, guys. This is training. We want you to give you an idea. Android does not display the number of contacts. Well, what can I say? I rest my case. 350. Awesome, Andy Bob. See, like all of you got more than 20 contacts. Like so far, nobody's just said, I only know 20 people. So, talk to some of these guys. There must be a reason why they ended up in your contact list. And so you've got acquaintances there. Get in touch with them. 2,539. Awesome. 480. Come on. See, if you got more than 20, look at that. 5,670. You're getting close to me, Valerie. And those casino people, imagine if they started punting on this one. They'd never lose. 104. Awesome. Look at that. Anything above 20 is perfect. Like, I don't know anyone who's got that's got under 20 contacts in their phone list. 2,307. iPhone. The fact that you have an iPhone means I'm going to just not worry about you not having put your name on there. Well done. So, guys, you can start somewhere. Just contact a few people. Don't expect everyone to respond. How you contact them is really important. That's why I said having the right mindset. Are you there to provide a solution? Are you a solution provider? Or are you just trying to push your own agenda of getting commissions? It's a fine line. We do tell you to set goals of working on a particular on a particular fund manager, but that doesn't mean you stop people from jumping into all fund managers. Okay. Pops and I are very much against some of the other groups on ours that only focus on one particular fund manager for their benefit and not tell anyone else about any other fund managers. Tell everyone about all the fund managers that are performing well. Okay, but set your own personal goals. That's just for you to achieve and to celebrate. How do you approach someone on your contact list when you haven't spoken to them for a while? Awesome question. This is how I do it. I just like, hey, mate, how you doing? Been a while. And then I have a conversation. It might take 3 months before I approach the subject, or 3 weeks or a week. Depends on how the conversation goes. But I started building a bridge first, from my heart to build a bridge. And I find so many other benefits in being able to do this because I end up reconnecting with people that I haven't connected with for a while. And then we end up having some really good, meaningful relationships as well. So this actually has a benefit of reconnecting people that maybe you haven't spoken to for a while. So just how are you going? And don't start with, I have a really good business idea for you. Are you interested? No, just have a chit chat. Would you believe that someone tried to scam me 2 days ago? I believe it's a scam. It was on WhatsApp. A girl from she's got an Australian number, but she says she's from Taiwan or South Korea. Sorry. One of them. Anyway, the message to me was, "Hi, are you selling a cat?" Like, what? Come again. For those who know me, I'm not a cat lover, any way, shape, or form. Sorry for those who do love pets. I said, no, I'm not, got the wrong number. She actually sent me a picture of the cat. She said, oh, one of my friends asked me to contact you selling this cat. I looked at the picture of the cat. I'm like, almost looks like a Google picture. Anyway, we'll see what happens next. So we start. Then I say, sorry, wrong number. Have a good day. She writes back to me and says, you sound like a really nice guy. Can I ask your name? I'm like, you can see my name already. But anyway, so we're starting to have this conversation, and it's been now 3 days of conversation. And I find out she's trying to get me into spot gold. But I'm getting her into TFXI. Woo-hoo! I mean, I'm just like having this chat and getting information from her, telling her about my information, and I'm having a lot of fun. And because I'm fully aware that she's most likely trying to scam me, and it's probably not even a she, it's probably a he, could be a number of people trying to talk to me. But I love it because it's a great opportunity to talk with her. Plus, I've been being able to talk to her about identity, which has been really something I love telling people about. And it's been exciting. So every day she connects with me and says, how are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you doing? What are you up to? And just listening to the stories. So you can do this with anyone. Start a conversation, get to know them first. Okay. How do you start introducing TFXI? You may have introduced too many people. What's the best way to start and introduce? I will share with you on that on a couple more slides. How to get signups. There you go. Almost getting started there. Here we go. This will answer your question. Number one, become an expert in TFXI investing. That's really a prelude, very important to do. Grow your knowledge. So you guys being up here on the training, you guys listening to the conversations we have on WhatsApp, jumping in, no matter how many times I listen, I always get some value in jumping into the presentation on the fortnightly Saturdays and hearing what Pops or Dr. Edmund are sharing. Okay, when Michelle shares some stuff about SMSF, or Binance, or Shilendra sharing something, or some of the other guys on the group as well, I'm listening and watching because you're gaining information. Grow your knowledge. Second, invest yourself and gain experience firsthand. So if you've just signed up and you haven't invested money in there, don't sell what you haven't done yourself. I find the best way to get signups is to tell people the story. And it doesn't matter how much. If you just got 1,000, it's okay. If you've got 20,000, it's okay. If you've got 2 million, it's okay. Right? The amount doesn't matter. The experience is there. Remember, everyone gets the same returns. It's just our percentage amounts are based on the amount capital we've put in, right? So you're all going to get the same feedback of, hey, we closed this particular fund, we got 7.2%. Everyone's getting 7.2%. Just each one gets a different amount depending on their capital. Make sense? Use your mentors as a library of information. Like if you don't know how to do something or you don't have an answer to something, say, I'll get back to you. Okay. Use our support groups. We've got 2 support groups. We've got the Telegram support group, and then we've got the QIB WhatsApp group. I don't know if you've heard of this, may not have. It's something I do a lot of when I teach people on marketing, is have a 30-second pitch to sow seed. What does that mean? Well, this is a great way of introducing TFXI to someone. When someone you've just met recently or at a party or an acquaintance, it's still a relationship, it's not a cold call, so they ask you the famous question, what's your name, what do you do? So when people ask me what I do, I normally start with a little bit of a shocker. If I'm in Australia, I use the Australian slang of, I'm just bumming around. I got nothing to do. I retired out at 36 and I'm just bumming around. And then they look at me because I need to create an invitation, especially if we're in Australia. Malaysia is kind of similar. People just say hi and they move on. They're not really interested in you unless you give them a shock. Is that true? So I just go, yep, I'm retired, I just bum around, don't know what to do with my life. Well, no, actually, I'm just joking. I get to travel around the world. I retired when I was 36 years of age. I get to be financially independent and free and do a lot of support work and help around the nations and help others do the same. I had the last bit. Now, that's a 30-second pitch that helps me, and you can change it a little bit here and there, but be honest with it and be true to yourself. It opens the opportunity towards a 3-minute, 30-minute, and 3-hour conversation. I'm prepared for all of those. You might say, well, that sounds like you've got an agenda. Yes, my agenda is to help others. I have great news. TFXI is one of the best. It is the best platform I've had so far. I mean, I've been a businessman since I was under 20 years of age, and I have not found anything better than this. I've been an investor since I was 19 years of age. have not found anything better than this. Will there be other things in the future? Yeah, probably. But this is amazing. Why would I not want to share it with anyone else? And nobody loses out. Investors do not lose out their 60% because I'm getting commissions. How good is that? Isn't that perfect? Okay. So have a 30-second pitch. If you haven't thought of that pitch, it's what we call an elevator pitch or an introduction. When people say, how are you? What do you do? But then if you know someone, you can have a 3-minute conversation with them about TFXI. And the way I introduce it to people is now I just talk to them about general chit chat about their life. Say, what are you guys up to right now? And if they ask me what I'm up to, I say, well, I get to travel around some of the nations. I'm in Kenya at the moment, we've been here 6 months, was meant to be here for only 3 or 4 months, had to extend, but thank God for some of my investments that have helped me stay secured here. So I don't have to come back and start again. Oh, wow, really? Yeah, and we've actually been able to help more people here, expand more, do more charity work, give away more. It's been really good. And I found such simple ways to invest my money to make it grow. Now that's kind of like a 3-minute conversation where people might be keen to know more. And if they're not, I don't have a problem with that. I just keep talking to them about what their needs are. And then if I find a connection back, I connect it back. The key to effective marketing is to find out the person's dreams through questions and listening. Very important, guys. If you want, don't just jump in there and bulldoze your way through and say, I've got some good information here, sign on the dotted line. You've got to find out where what their dreams are and if they're ready for this. I remember recently speaking to someone in Kenya, and a lot of people said, can't work in Kenya, no one has money. And yet I find a group of people who are single moms, especially, working hard and saving. And I'm like, okay, I show them the compounding spreadsheet that I'll show you guys. I love this. I carry it on my phone. I say, so what's the dream? I talk about the dream. And the dream is to work hard to get enough money to start a business. And then the dream stops there because it never thought further than that. And I say, what happens after that? They said, I have a business now. I said, for the rest of your life, that's all you're going to do? And then they say, well, what else is there? And I say, well, let me show you, because they've asked me, what else is there? I whip out my spreadsheet and say, may I show you how you can become a millionaire in the next 15 years? Like just by putting 1,000 in. Like by the time I finish, they're so excited. And if they're committed, but they're not ready with money, I just teach them how to save. Same thing in Australia. I mean, there's my guy who's a gardener who's been with me for nearly 20 years. Like he's getting into his 70s soon. Now he's a very fit guy, amazing fella. But I said to him, for how long are you going to be doing this for? Oh, but I love talking to people. I go, yeah, you can talk to people. How are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to live? And I've been talking for 5 years, building a relationship with him. He's watched my story. And finally, before I left for Kenya 6 months ago, he said, okay, Rueben, I'm ready to sign up. I'm just going to trust you. I said, before you just trust me, here are the facts. I want you to know what your risks are, what your facts are. And before we left, I had the privilege of signing him up. Why? I want this guy in the next 5 years to have the opportunity to retire if he wants to, because he's going to be 75 soon. How is he going to keep going like this? And he's got no other plan. He can't start a new business. He can't learn a new skill. So when we help others, we ourselves get helped. Find out what they are looking for as outcomes and match it with the advantages of the investment. Example, lifestyle choices, family, travel, etc. I'll give you an example. I was talking to someone some time ago about sales. And I said, when you go into a shop to buy a mattress and someone comes and tells you all the best mattresses that there are there, they're not a good salesman. But if someone comes to you and says, what are you looking for? Oh, I want to sleep well at night. So you're having problems sleeping. Yeah, my back's been hurting. All right. Where has it been hurting? And then they present you the best option for your mattress, for your back, not the most, it doesn't have to be the most expensive or the most highest state of the art. It's meeting your need. Does that make sense? Or someone I come to and say, hey, I've got a problem. My wife and I, every time my husband around, he bounces the bed and wakes me out of bed because I'm such a light sleeper. I've got the perfect solution for you. Here's a bed that's split in two. You can't feel each other as movements. Would you like something like this? Now, it's not even talking about money. It's talking about the dream. It's meeting up it's looking at their pain points, and it's looking at what are the things that they need. And you start talking to them from the outcomes. So TFXI is very similar. So retirement plans, like, it's a great question. I don't know. I've got to work hard. All right. Hey, I just wanted to let you know there's an option here that I'm exploring for my retirement. Would you be interested to know more? Yeah, tell me a bit more. Have you heard of the Forex market? Oh, those things are scams. Okay. Well, tell me about it. Don't just dive in and defend your position. Just say, okay, tell me, what do you mean it's a scam? 9 times out of 10, it's because they've heard it's a scam. They haven't been scammed. And so you say, can I give you my experience? Can I tell you what I've done? Okay, so find out what people's needs are. That's the best way to start signing people up. Invitation. Don't push people. If anyone's around us and you've seen us do presentations or talk to anyone on your behalf for you, which we're very happy to do, we always do an invitation. And we're very relaxed about it. Say, hey guys, we just want you to be well informed. Here's information for you to be well informed. It's up to you what you want to do. I don't want to feel like tomorrow you're upset that I didn't tell you about the opportunity. But entirely up to you. When you're ready, just let me know. And then I follow them up 2-3 times. And then if they're not up to that place, like there's someone in another state in Australia, not in Melbourne, I can't remember where they were. I think they might be in Canberra. And they were really keen. They even sent me all their documents to sign up, and then they went quiet for the year. And I've reached out to them a few times, no answer. And I go, fine, not a problem. At least they know that I've reached out and I'm there if they need help. Makes sense? Invite, don't push. Is this helping anyone? Give me a yes if it's helping. Joining an art society and have spoken with members who ask me how I can. Yeah, I love that. Joining clubs are a great way of connecting with people. All right. I love the fact when you join a club and they get you to stand up and say what you do, get that 30-second pitch going. It is worth it. If you stand out from the crowd, it's not just, hi, I'm Rueben and I'm a doctor. Hi, I'm Rueben and I'm an engineer. Hi, I'm Rueben. It's like, I get to live life. I get to have fun. It's not, and don't fake it. Don't say things that you haven't done yet. You can even say, I get to be in a group of investors where I get to see them, a lot of them just retired out and doing what they want to do in life. And I am on that journey and I'm about to get there myself. Right? But don't ever tell lies. Doesn't work. Be always upfront, transparent, which is why we like TFXI. They're very transparent. Inform, but don't overwhelm with too much information, nor be too superficial. Know the personality type you're dealing with. What do I mean by that? Sometimes you meet people and you might be a person who likes the detail, and so you give people too much detail. That overwhelms them, and in the end, they just don't know how to make the decision because you've just given them too much detail. Have you ever met someone? Are you a person who likes detail? Like, you like to know all the information, you really grind down to the depths of just knowing everything about the product before you say yes. And so you just think that everyone else does the same thing. Be careful with that. All right. Overwhelm people. Valerie, yeah, I know him well. Do you have some pitch samples or templates with the TFXI opportunity? Yes, Stephen, not today, but you're welcome to journey with me, and I'm happy to share with you some of that down the track when we are on doing these presentations. On the other hand, have you met people like, for you might be very relational. Like Pops Matthew is a very relational person. And he basically, a lot of people used to jump in. I don't know if they still do now, the signups, but I know at the beginning, I used to observe Pops, and a lot of people jumped in on trust with him. They just trusted him. Now, some of you know Bruce. Bruce is one of the most skeptical guys I've ever met, and he's part of our team. And he's very close friends with Pops and myself, and he's like skeptical as skeptical can be, and checked everything out a billion times before he jumped in, and now he can't get enough of it. Now I'm in between the two. And Papa Luke, a lot of you know, kind of 4 of us kind of walked together a lot for these last few years, and we're very close friends. Papa Luke is kind of a person of, like, if Pops and Rueben are doing it, I'm in. Like, I'm not going to worry. I'll learn as I go. So you've got different personalities that do different things. So what I've learned is I need to find enough information that I'm at my comfort level, and then know the other, give them to that level. So if I'm dealing with a Bruce, who is higher than my level of wanting detail, I just give up to my detail, my story, and I don't try to justify anything else. And I say, hey, bro, these other questions, let me take them down and I'll connect you with someone who can answer the questions. And then I connect them with someone who has a higher level of knowledge. So when I first started, I just had to work with the knowledge I had, and your story is the most important thing. Your experience, your story. This is how it's helping me. This is how it's helping me live my dream. There you go. I preempted myself. Tell your personal story of investing. If you want to know how to sign people up, just be yourself. Tell your story. That really makes a big difference. Like I get a 70% success rate because I just tell my story. Now I've had to we do professional presentations on the Saturdays. So that's a different level that we work at because we're dealing with a whole group of people, but relationally, just tell your story. Absolutely. No one can dispute your story. And as you tell your story, even if you're a month in, you've still got a 5-week set of profits coming back. Tell your story. Now, remember, guys, we're not signing people up to being QIBs. You're not signing them up to do business. You're signing them up to do investments. Can I get an I for investors? You're signing up I's, investors, okay? Because some people leave here and think, I've got to sign up people for the business. How am I going to do that when I'm not there yet? Good. People are listening. I's. You're signing up investors, okay? You're not signing up business people. Don't talk about business. Okay, we've got a few I's. What about the others? Put an I for investor. Remind yourself, I'm signing up investors. That's all I'm looking for. People I can tell the good news about that's going to help them grow their investment opportunities. Okay, makes sense? I've got only a few I's. What about the rest? Got a few more coming in. People are waking up. Hopefully, I haven't put you guys to sleep. Right. Be ready to dive deeper into facts for the logical thinkers and into outcomes and dreams for the feelers. That's important. Don't just if you're a more person who's like a feel emotional person, don't disregard the ones who are logical thinkers. And if you're a logical thinker, don't disregard the ones who are feelers. The best people in life, just generally, is being able to know how other people respond to things as well, and that there are different personalities out there. And if we understand that, we can help more people, and that helps you. I'm sure you guys have seen lots of different types of personality traits. I just want to share with you a couple, or one, I should say. The DISC. Who's heard of DISC? Anyone heard of DISC here? DISC personalities? If you have, put a yes in, so I just can see that we're all on the same page. There are lots of different ones. We tend to use this DISC one. It's quite good communication styles of DISC. The left-hand one has got some really good detail. You might want to take a screenshot of it. I just like the right one just for today because of time. The right one gives me a really nice overview. If you look at the fact that there are, on the top here, 2 types of fast-paced and outspoken people, the D's and I's. But one of them is questioning and skeptical, and the other one is accepting and warm. Now, I'm a fast-paced and outspoken person, or I come across as that. Would you say I'm questioning and skeptical, or would you say I'm accepting and warm? Let's see how you guys go with working out my personality. Which one? Yeah, I'm I. Someone says I'm I. What about others? Anyone differ with that? I'm a D. Woohoo! I've got a D there as well. Another one. D. Interesting. So I'm actually more of an I. I'm an accepting, warm person. But it's interesting that some of you, like that, Andy, don't know. You're just choosing to sit on the fence. But it's interesting. Some of you think I'm questioning and skeptical because I'm learning to understand all personalities. So the more I understand, the more I present to people who are from different levels of understanding too. Now, it's okay if you get things wrong. But just being aware, as you ask questions, you begin to recognize where people are at. So they can be fast-paced and outspoken, or they can be cautious and reflective. So one's more like an extrovert, one's more like an introvert. Okay, I actually am, if you really get to know me, more cautious and reflective. But I come across as fast-paced and outspoken. Okay, so in both categories, you have people who are questioning and skeptical, or accepting and warm. And it's good to kind of work out and recognize that. On the left-hand side, you got some more detail about the type of people that you're dealing with in the using the disc. Okay, so just again, become an expert in not just TFXI, but in marketing. For those who are process driven and like to say, well, what's my process I can work on? Just take a picture of this. It's a very simple 4-step process of presentation, handling objectives, closing, and follow-up. And I love this. It really works well. So number 1 is salesperson, that's you, tells the product story to the buyer using the need satisfaction approach. That's about outcomes. What do you need, and how can I help you to meet that need? Handle objectives. Salesperson seeks out, clarifies, and overcomes customer objections to buying. I meet people who are scared to work on objections because they think that is a rejection. It's not a rejection. It's good when people ask questions. And it says here, salesperson seeks out. So he actually looks out, or she actually looks out to clarify, do you have any questions? Are you okay with this? Closing, salesperson asks the customer for an order. So it's like, hey, do you guys want to sign up? Try this out for 5 weeks. Like, that's one of the best ways I work with people who are really highly skeptical but are ready to come in and have maybe had bad experiences in the past. To go, look, it doesn't cost anything to set up, doesn't cost anything to jump in, and your money's tied up for 5 weeks. Only put in what you're willing to risk. If you're willing to risk this and you can sleep well at night, let's try it out for 5 weeks. If you don't like it after 5 weeks, you can pull out. Like, how good is that, guys? I mean, we've got an amazing platform, right? Take advantage of the advantages of the platform we have. And then follow up. That's really important. And I've written a book on 5 steps to set up a business without capital. And one of the things that I always talk about is customer service. Like, after the sale, they're ready to sign up, help people process through the whole thing, sign up, answer questions, learn a bit more about the trader room, put money in, fund the account. Okay, walk people through it. And if they ask you questions, don't just dust your hands, say, I've sold the product, I'm going to go on to the next person. Good customer service, because how many of you already have seen people start with a small amount and then they start growing that amount? Like, they get it's just amazing. Like, I look back at some of my customers and like, my colleagues that have signed up are like, they started with 1,000 or 10,000, all of a sudden they've got like 50,000 in there or 100,000. I'm like calling them up and saying, in this customer service, like, hey dude, how you doing? Good. You're obviously enjoying TFXI. Yes, I am. I'm just concerned. I want to make sure that you're not putting more than 20% of your savings. Just be willing to sleep well at night. Do you know how many of them appreciate me calling? They really appreciate that I care. From my heart, I care, because I don't want them to put more in. Yes, I'll get more rebates, and yes, I have more commissions if they put more in, but I want them to be happy as well. How many of you know a happy client tells other people about the whole thing as well? Okay, and they start introducing other people, and it's exciting. Like, we were Pops, we were waiting to grow to 500. Now we've got to 608, and like, it's getting exponential. Like, forget about even before we could even celebrate 600, we're already past 600. I think we're going to be celebrating 1,000 soon. How exciting is that, guys? Because everyone's just jumping in and stepping forward and telling people about this, and it's a really great thing. So here's a selling process that might help you guys. Okay, my presentation styles. Let me just quickly share that, where I've got only 10 minutes left, so I'll just do it fast. So these are my presentation styles. I recognize that I have individuals face-to-face. There are 1 to 2 people, could be couples usually. Small groups, face-to-face, 3 to 12 people that I might present to. Individuals online via Zoom that I might be asked to present to, or I can only catch up with them because they're not at my same location. And then there are small group online presentations that I do as well that are 3 to 12 people. And then obviously most of you have seen myself alongside Pops Matthew and Dr. John doing these large online presentations. So for you guys, which ones, apart from number 3, I would suggest that you'd probably be confronted with the opportunities to present in any of these 4 categories, the 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. What are you most comfortable in presenting in? Just pop that into the chat group. You know, is it 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, all of them? Okay. It's good to know where your comfort is, because then I'll show you how to present in that place. Great. 2B for Andy Bob. Bino 1A, 2A, excellent. iPad 1A, Brett 1A, Valerie 1A, 1B, 2A. Excellent. Well done, guys. Okay, so here's what I found in my experience. Focus more, if you're doing individuals and small groups that are face-to-face, focus more on listening. Ask a lot of questions. Tell your story and your experience. Okay, in this order, like this is how I present. If someone says, okay, this is not me doing a cold call. This is now me sitting with someone and they're saying, tell me more about TFXI, all right? State some facts about the brokers and traders. So I put in a little bit of facts, but because I'm face-to-face, there's this energy that comes in the room when you of trust, when you're honest, when you're open from your heart, you want to help them. And I focus on listening to what their needs are and then connecting my story and my experience with them. And then I tell them some facts. And I always give them the fact that it's a high risk. And we've brought down the risk by knowing more about the facts, about the broker and the trader. Okay. State the benefits and invite them to a presentation. So I invite them to an online presentation later. Make sense? Okay. If I happen to be carrying my computer around and whip up my computer and show them a presentation, kind of feels like I've, for me personally, like, oh, that's preempted. If they invite me to it and I say, can I bring my laptop and show you a presentation, that's different. Okay. But if I'm somewhere and we've had this conversation to the point where they want to know more, these are the 5 steps I use. Is that helping anyone? Okay. If you're doing online, I do it a little bit differently. I ask questions and assess the level of investing experience. What do I mean by that? I say, so, I might use Michelle as an example. We're online and go, hey, Michelle, so how long have you been investing for? And then she'll give me an answer. And have you heard about like what areas do you invest in? And she might say, oh, in the property market and stock. And I say, have you heard of the Forex industry? And most people, I've never hardly met anyone who said yes with the Forex, because Forex seems to be a very new thing. And so then I give some information about it and I just tell them my story. I never say, oh, you need to invest into the Forex. And I say, so actually Forex industry is interesting. I also invest in these other areas like you if they have invested, but I found the Forex one really exciting. And then I tell them my story about it. And then I request to do a presentation. Most likely if they've turned up online, it's because they know there's going to be a presentation. Because I'm on a laptop using Zoom as an example, you can use meetings or anything else. I just say, hey, I've got a presentation as well. I can just chat to you guys or I can show you a presentation. Most people like that presentation's idea as well. And then I invite questions and deal with any objections. Is that helpful? You want to take a screenshot of this? You're welcome to. Gives you just a level of above where to go to, depending on the group that you're dealing with. Okay. All right. If I'm doing a presentation online, I normally have found this to be effective. It's a 90-minute presentation normally. I allow for an hour and a half, and I break it up into 4 parts. And this has worked very effectively. I've closed over 70% of people in the room, if not more, but minimum 70 each time I've done it this way. So this is not the one I do on a Saturday. This is just presentation online with a smaller group of people. All right. I start with my testimony. I don't put up any screens. They get to see me face to face. I started my testimony. I talk about my dreams and hopes, my pit moments, and a little about the platform and why they are a low risk in the high risk category. What I'm doing is talking about my experience, but I'm also connecting auditory face to face. So if this is still online, but I'm literally doing this, I'm going to stop my share. And can you guys see my face? So I'm literally showing you my face and talking to you. Make sense? So I'm just talking like this. There's no presentation happening. So, hey guys, this is what I'm doing and this is what my story is. And it's for about 20 minutes I have a conversation. And I'm looking at the others. I want them to know that I'm just involved in what they're and interested in what they're saying, and they get to see me, not see some presentation. Then I request permission. Can I share some slides? And then I share my slides. And my slides are focused more on the characteristics of the traders and the brokers and the risks. So my slides now are based more on data and information that backs up what I've said with my experience. So these are the facts. Make sense? Okay. And then I go into a demo where I open up the trader room and I show them, actually, this is what you're going to walk through, the evidence demonstration. And really the only things I show them there is, here's the trader room, here's how you log in, here's the site. When you log in, here's the fund manager, here's how I deal with knowing if the fund managers are worth me investing money in. Okay, that takes about 20 minutes. And then I open it, I spend a good amount of time getting feedback and assessing the temperature of which soil are they? Are they ready to make a decision or not? Okay. Is that helpful? This gives you a template. Now, you can do anything, you do it your way. This works for me. And this works for most people because it's not personality based in terms of your personality. It's just based around a principle that any personality can do. And then you present it to people with different personalities as well. Because you're giving them the auditory, you're giving them the facts, you're giving them evidence of here's the actual login, and then you're letting them ask more questions, and they may say, tell me more about your story. So now they're more emotional, want to know the information based, or can you show me more facts? Or they'll ask you facts like some of you guys asked about, why is it, if it's another country offshore, why is Australia it's not connected with Australia, etc. So they're asking some of those questions as well, and they might be emotional or fact based. Then can you show me the trader room again? And how did you do that part? That means, okay, they're actually interested in the transparency of and the process that they're driven with. So I give time for questions, and that's what we call relationship marketing. Okay. Here's some of the facts that I really highly recommend that you put in and information. Investing in the Forex industry is considered high risk. Now, you're welcome to take screenshots of this and use it yourself. I don't have a problem with that. Investing in this platform has substantially lowered our risk to low risk in the high risk category. We always tell people it's high risk. You can lose all your money, okay? But we've also said low risk. Why? The number one reason we can say this is because the broker platform has not made a loss since it commenced in 2009 on any of the suggested fund managers. Like, that is brilliant. Is that making sense? So we're always telling people, these are some of the things, can see your screen. You can't see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Could someone? Shalindra, you can see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Something wrong then with the ones who can't see it, just maybe your phone. You might need to slide it across to see the screen if you're on a phone. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So really important that the reason we say it's a low risk in the high risk category is because they haven't made a loss. That's the number one reason. Then we look at some other reasons. Now, I always present the disclaimer as well. I've taken this from Pops Matthew. I don't know where he got it from, but it reads well. I'm comfortable with the content. It meets all the information we need. So why rewrite it? Feel free, again, take a copy of this if you want to do it as a presentation, that you have a disclaimer. Okay. Then I talk about lowering your risk in the high risk category. Again, I have a disclaimer at the bottom here. I'm not a financially qualified accountant, financial planner, or financial expert. That's something you tell people. Any information presented here is my opinion and results from my investment experiences. Please seek financial advice before proceeding with any investments, especially in the high risk categories such as Forex. Okay? So, like, no one can turn back to you and say, you scammed me or you caused me to lose money or something like that, because you've told them to assess the risk themselves. And if you think, man, you keep on harping about this, absolutely I do, 100%. You can lose your capital investment. I tell them that. If I'm not presenting, I'll tell them from my mouth. Invest only what you're willing to lose. Don't invest more than 15 to 20% of your savings. However, this is what I love. We've never suffered a loss in this platform. How good is that? Okay. Then I talk about the traders' characteristics. You guys have seen this before in my presentations. I look at the traders' characteristics and I give them a little bit of information about it. Only put in what you understand. If you don't understand something, you can put it in and say, hey, I don't know all the details of it, but it makes kind of sense. And then if people want to know more, then they can come see one of us. Okay. I talk about the broker platform and why the risk is low based on the broker. And then I talk about the licensing as well. And I hit some of the points of, it's overseas. Are you okay? So one of my qualifying questions is, are you okay with an overseas investment? This is overseas. This is not in Australia or Kenya or in Indonesia or Malaysia or wherever you're coming from. This is an overseas investment in Cyprus. And I haven't met anyone from Cyprus that have signed up. So Most likely it's an overseas investment for all of you here as well, right? Which means it's covered by international governing rules and laws, not my local laws necessarily. If they say, I don't like that, say this is not meant for you. Walk away. Don't convince people, guys. Don't focus on trying to convince someone who is not in the space to make that decision yet. Everyone okay with that? So when someone says, how do you deal with someone who says, well, how come ASIC's not covering this and it's probably a scam? Well, it probably is if you think that everything's a scam if they're not covered by ASIC in Australia. This is an investment. It's an international one. It is fully legitimate. And I've used it, and I know people who are using it. That's what I say. When I first started and I hadn't had 6 years experience, I say, I've been in it for only this amount of time, but I know people have been in it longer. One of the ladies who've been in it the longest that we know of is a forensic accountant. And she's very skeptical on making sure everything that she jumps into is right. And I walked with her in a relationship. Pops knows her even more. And so that was my basis of, if you want to do this, yes, but it is international. Okay, it is overseas. I talk about one of the things I bring up here is fund size and profit paid to date is higher. Now it's updated since then, but if the profit paid to date is higher than the fund size, it also helps us towards lowering the risk of it being a Ponzi. I talk about the investment plan and the breakdowns that we always get 60%. And any of my commission that I get is not coming from the 60% that is being given to you as an investor, which is great news. There's always been a return over the last 10 years. This is excellent. I talked to them about my investment journey. I've already told them that before I started, so I just do a very quick summary of it. And then I introduced them to the broker. I'm going through these slides very quickly because you've hopefully seen these. They're on my presentation, and I'm happy to share them with you. Actually, they're even on the Dropbox link, so you can see one of my older presentations, which has got these slides as well. I talked about all the fund managers that are available, but then say why I recommend these 5. So they know I'm not withholding. Like, why can't I go to GM? Yes, you can if you want to. It used to be 31%. It's now like less than 15% return. But the win-loss ratio is very similar to ones that are returning 76 to 80%. So it's up to you. Okay, but I recommend these. I explain why again. These are the best performing ones. So this will be my online presentation. I actually show them the summaries. I mean, this is a great example of the actual summaries over the cycles. Look at Yuri, 34 cycles over 3 years. We're into our 4th year. Nikolay, how many cycles have they got? 24 cycles here. Over 2 and a bit years. Okay, AMG, GMC, and you can get all this off Telegram and Tokyo's Finest. Okay. And then I love this part. This is what again, this hits some people really beautifully. Hey, just invest 1K, and in 9 years through compounding at the 70% return, you're going to hit 100,000 in just 9 years. Like, if you don't want to do anything else, put 1,000 aside and forget about it. And furthermore, if you then go for another 5 years, so that's 14 years in total, you'll hit 1 million. And then I show them this. I said, the next year you have 1.4 million. You now have a return of 900,000 every year, and your capital is still preserved. Do you need that much to live off? They go, absolutely not. Okay, let's go back to the previous slide then. Once you hit 100,000, and if you're getting 83,000 as your return, your commissions, your interest every year, can you live off that USD? Oh, kind of, maybe, yeah. And you're still going to preserve your capital. See how that excitement starts to build, right? And I say, well, what if you get to 200,000 and you live off 100 and reinvest 100? You still get to that million. So I start to show them numbers. Like, how many of you are excited just looking at numbers? Like, I look at this spreadsheet and I'm like, whew. Now, I'm a more emotional guy than I am. Well, I'm a bit of both, and I'm a facts guy. And I do change over time because I have come from an engineering background too. So I have facts and figures. But from an emotional point of view, when I go back to figures, I go, wow, this works. This will help me hit my dreams as well. How good is that? And then I tell them what the next step is. And then I hit the elephant in the room before they even say it. Hey, here's a way to identify scams. Lots of scams going around in all our countries, always on the news. Doesn't mean that everything is a scam, but a lot of things are, how do I identify them? Here's 8 things to look at. Okay. Let me finish off with this. This is the way I do things to keep it simple. The 4 soils. As I said, I got it from the Bible. So I went to sow seed and fell on 4 soils. What I learned from that is the quality of your good news. In other words, the TFXI investment plan is not in question. We know it's working well. The quality of the heart that receives it helps us to determine how we can help them achieve success. Okay. So it's not about how good TFXI is. It's about, are they in the right place to be willing to do this? So always find out where the other person's desire to invest and the risk appetite is. Listen to be heard. In other words, do lots of listening, guys. You guys getting this? Making sense? Lots of listening. Okay. So there are 4 types of people. Literally, that's all there are. Up here, not ready, not committed. Don't bother with them. Okay. Once you get things like this, I'm not interested. I don't understand. It's way too risky. I don't have the money. You have to work hard to get money. No such thing as passive income. As soon as they're very adamant about things like that, I just like bail out and I go, no problem. I bow out of the conversation in a very beautiful way and say, look, no problem. And I won't ask again. I had a very close relative of mine that I thought, he's been such an investor in property and stocks that he would love this. I had 4 conversations with him. He even turned up for one of the presentations and then just did not show any interest. So I've just bailed out. I'm okay with that. We still have a great relationship. I just don't talk about this anymore to him. Why? Because he's not ready and not committed. If you have people in the good soil, they're ready and committed, like, go for it. You'll find people like that. Like the people who say, I'm excited about this. I have a few more questions to better understand this, but I'm ready to go. Sign me up. What do I do next? That's the sort of conversations you'll have and hear from them. That means they're ready and committed, right? They've got the information and they've got the money to commit to it. Then you have these guys here, the ready but not committed and committed but not ready. And often people get rid of those people as well as too hard. They're not. You just have to move on them, like Michelle said earlier today. So out of this group of people, there's only a quarter that you have to kind of throw away. There's 3/4 that you have as huge potential, which is really exciting. So ready but not committed are people that would say things like, wow, I love it. I'll get back to you. And they never do. So you just keep having chats, conversations with them. They might say things like, I'm just under a lot of pressure right now. I have too many things on my plate. They understand the opportunity, but they aren't committed to it yet. Okay. Had a gentleman that I spoke with, he was going through a divorce. So he was like, yeah, look, I just can't afford to do this right now. Now, I knew from conversing with him that this was the best time to do it because he was losing everything. And starting from scratch was not going to be easy for him. And he had children already, and it was a really tough situation he was going through. But I just kept working with him. And about a year later, he's investing. And he's just thanking me and said, how do I do the next step and the next step? And I go, oh, slow down a bit. You're going through a really tough time emotionally with relationships. Let's just do a little bit at a time. And I showed him how to recompound his few thousand that he's put in. But he's excited now. But that took about a year of just conversations with him. He was ready but not committed. And then he got into that position where he was able to be ready and committed. Now, you might find people who are committed but not ready. They have the money, but they just haven't got the information fully understood. So I want to find out a way to get more income, but I don't know how to accept through work. So that's sort of people who haven't thought about passive income investments and how they can really help. I know investments are great, but how risky is this Forex? They ask questions like that. I'm ready to try, but I'm afraid to lose money. And that's why you try to handle some of those objections with them. Walk people through it. I always say there's no such thing as a silly question. Awesome. So guys, think about the potential people you would like to share this good news opportunity with. Which soil are they a part of? How will you help them get to ready and committed? Okay, I mean, if you can do full time on this, I love living life this way. Just helping people. And money is one of the biggest distractions in the world that if we can help people get rid of, why not? And as you help others, you yourself are helped too. And if you get a chance to, if you haven't already, come see me when I do the live presentations with Pops Matthew and Dr. John. Every fortnight or so, one of us is doing it. You get to see how we present in a large audience. You get to learn more, become more effective as presenters as well. Pops, back to you.
Thank you. Awesome presentation, Ruben. How many here really enjoyed it? Can I just get a one yes on the chat box? Amazing. Thank you, guys. Really, the thing is, what you must appreciate that what Ruben is doing, what Dr. John is doing, we are doing together as a team to help you guys be successful in this business, because we are coming from a place of experience where we have experienced success and we know it works. And we're just teaching you how to do it very effectively without going through some of the lessons that we have learned how not to do it. So that's a good thing for you. So this is why we do this, because if you guys are blessed, you grow successful, we're also happy with it. We also get blessed as well. So it's a win-win for both of us. So with that, I'm going to open up for questions, and maybe take 15 minutes question, and then we've got a few other things that each one of us want to share. There's some of the points that we think have been posted there, like what is scam, about offshore office, how do we address some issues that you guys are facing with withdrawals and consent form. So we're going to touch on some of those topics in a little while. But in the meantime, if any question that you have for Ruben, you can just have a show of hands, and then we'll take it one by one.
I just had a question here from Live. Can this be shared on a Facebook Live? I'm not sure what you're asking, whether the training or you telling people about this platform. You can probably clarify that, then we can answer it better. Telling people, okay. So I didn't touch on that, and thank you for reminding me. We are not allowed to share details about TFXI or the fund managers on social media, due to the fact that it has been used by some of the others, not in our group, but in other groups in the past, and it has been misrepresented. So if TFXI finds anyone doing that, sharing the actual name TFXI, Triumph FX, or the fund manager's details, they can actually request it. They're very stern. They'll actually tell you to take it down. And if you don't, or if you're a second-time offender, then they will stop your trades, the investments that you put in your fund manager trades, until you comply. And if you keep offending, then they will stop your account. The reason is that people have misused it in the past. Now, I do know there's some guys who have been putting on their Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp some of the fund manager returns with the actual names. I have spoken to some of you guys who not do it, but some of you keep doing it. That's now in your hands, because we've warned you, because we're not to do that. Now, what you can do is you can go live, and you can just talk about a platform that's working for you and generically say, I'm getting these sort of returns and I'm really excited. And if you want to know more, and then you take them into the relational marketing, as we said, that's so much better. So good question, though. Hopefully that clarifies.
Hi, Ashwani Sharma. I attended my first presentation, very thorough and specific. Good to see all the faces. Okay, it's more of a statement. Okay.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys, before we share on some of the yes, Jordan. Hey, Jordan, good to see you. Jordan, did you want to say something?
No. Mistake.
Okay. I was looking forward to your question, Jordan. Think of a question now. No, I'm kidding. Any other questions, comments? Is it helpful to you guys to know how to find? Is it of help? Hopefully it's helpful to you guys. Just want to know, are you feeling more confident now? Is there some process that you can work on in order to go find more people and tell them the good news of this investment platform? How do we get some of those slides, or do we make our own? I'm happy to put those slides up on the link, on the Dropbox link. You can have a look at those slides. You can, as we often say, take and own. If you're going to put facts down, make sure you know what those facts are about.
Yeah, exactly.
You can get clarity from one of us, because you don't want to say something and people to ask questions and then you don't know how to answer it. You lose people's confidence that way. How much time does it take to withdraw money to bank?
Okay, I'm going to address all that in a minute. Yeah. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll answer that question. How much time does it take to withdraw money to the bank? Hey, listen, there are different ways. I think I'll just cover that a little bit more in detail. There are different three ways you can actually withdraw your money. One is through USDT crypto. Crypto is probably the fastest way. Within 48 hours, you can drop it into your exchange that you have nominated. That's very efficient. For banks, it depends. Again, if you're taking into converting from US dollars in the from TFI converts from US dollars to your local currency, whether it's ringgit or Australian dollars, it can take anywhere up to, you see, when you must be very careful when they say approved. Let's say they say today the day is approved on 28th, is where they say it's approved, and you get an email to say approved. It doesn't mean the money has left the bank, in their bank. They've just approved it, and that information and documentation is then going to their finance department, where it can take 3 to 5 days to process the payment before it's sent out to you. Okay, so be careful. Don't assume the moment they say it's approved, the money is on the way. No, it takes about 3 to 5 days for them to process the payment at the back office, the finance department, and it will leave their bank account. And from there is another 5 to 10 working business day, depending on the type of the bank SWIFT or how it works. So it can be anywhere between from the day it's approved to by the time you get, could be anywhere between 15 to 20 days. All right. So don't be surprised. Don't get panicking. Don't start raising support tickets, because this is typically how it works. This is my experience. I draw money out every month into my US dollar bank account, and it takes about 15 to 18 days before I see the money in my account. All right. And initially I did seek clarification, and Kalman, who's the CEO of Asia Pacific, he explained the whole process to me. He said, Matthew, you must understand, for any bank withdrawal, the day we approve, it takes 3 to 5 days for us to process the actual payment at the back office. Only then it leaves it comes into your bank. So be careful. And when any of your clients ask this question, just tell them this is the process. Okay. So be careful. Don't get excited about it. Just don't feel delayed about it. Okay. Internal transfer means the best way to internal transfer between members. What do you mean by it? There's been 4 days since that I've started a withdrawal to Binance, but it's not credited. Yes. Okay. Look, guys, the TFXI has got is overwhelmed with withdrawals. Just as well, they're overwhelmed with deposits. So you got to, if typically for crypto, it shouldn't be more than 48 hours. If it's more than 40 hours, raise a support ticket. And normally for anything to do with finance, when you're withdrawing a deposit, support does respond very quickly. Where they do have issues is with the applications, and where the consent forms and documentation is not up to date, they can drag it out. Okay, so let me just focus on withdrawals now. That's the situation with withdrawals. So understand that it could take anywhere between 5 to 18 days before you see the money into your bank account. Okay, what else is that? The initial, who's that? Sarvan Kumar, the initial 1K investment making 100K 9 years slideshow seed investment of. Okay, when you say you can't attach less than 1,000, yes, that's right. But what we do is you can detach. You detach your 1,000, and then you add the $500 and reattach. That's what we do. That's how you reinvest. I think most of you know that. And one of the things I recommend to your clients, don't ask them if they're putting $10,000 in fund. Don't ask them to attach just one $10,000 amount. Ask them to break it down 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. So that if they need to add a few $100 to reinvest, they only need to detach one amount, not the entire $10,000. So break it down, and it's also good for you later on when you want to withdraw something. You may need to withdraw, not to detach the money. You might just want $2,000 or $4,000. You just detach 1 or 2 of those money. So you need to be savvy with this, and also advise your clients to do that way, so it's easier for them to manage it as well. Do we have the license certificate of TFXI? Yes, we have actually in the Dropbox, and we have posted Seychelles license is there. For it is, I think you can also get it from TFXI website if I'm not mistaken. but otherwise it should be in the Dropbox. We have posted that into the Dropbox. Can it take longer to Sunil, can it take longer if incorporated over weekend? I don't know what you mean by that. Is there any lock-in period for initial investment fund? No. Guys, I think you're a QIB. If you're coming into a QIB, you should already know these questions, right? Right. There is no lock-in contract, TFXI, only if you put it in the main fund. Let's say if you got Nicolay main fund and Nicolay PAM. In Nicolay, if you put in the main fund, they say you ideally, they suggest you keep it for 12 months, but you can still detach the money if you want to. You will just have to pay a small fee for the administration process. But if you put in the PAM, there is no fee. You can take out anytime you want within the stipulated detachment days that the fund, each fund has. So you got to follow that rule. What the license is expiring to? Yes, okay, it is expiring 22nd, but I'm sure they're already working on it. So don't worry about it. You know, just focus on what you do. This is where, guys, you got to be very careful, right? There are a lot of information that gets sent to me privately, and I see it is, you know, every 10 information I receive about scam or any suspicious information, suspected bad information, 9 out of 10 is recycled. It's the same thing coming over and over and over. And what Rueben said, very clear. Hey, the company's been performing since 2009. Not one, no client has lost money. Every cycle they're making profits, right? And they're distributing profits. So how can a company like this can be going, you know, having issues? They've been incorporated since 2009. Yes, there's incorporated in Cyprus. Then they had a license with Vanuatu. They felt Vanuatu was not what they wanted. They changed the license to Seychelles. So they are in this business. They know this equally. This is much more a priority for them to make sure for the sake of their business to sustain. I'm sure they will be making sure all the licenses are renewed on time. Okay, so don't, when people post that, say yes, we are aware of it, but you know, TFX says I'm sure is working on it. Finish. Just answer that way. We don't have to show evidence or proof, because we don't know what stage of conversation or renegotiating they're doing it at their head office. We got no clue about that, right? That's why they got full-time compliance officers and lawyers there who are sitting there doing the job for them. Would it be useful, transparent to advise our potential clients that the profits are to be calculated as before tax? And then will need to seek of course, we always explain that very well. Every dollar that is earned, whether it's from your commission, from your profit, or from the 5% rebate, it is considered as your income, earnings. So you have to submit that as your gross earnings to your accountant or to your tax authority when you declare tax, and you'll be taxed on that income. So it's not on the net. Well, another thing is, it doesn't matter whether you brought the money into your bank. You must include both what you brought back into your bank and what you've reinvested in TFXI. All that in that financial year is considered as earned income.
Can I also add, again, point of lesson, no condemnation here. The word advice, do not ever use that word.
Yeah.
Suggest. Would we be useful, transparent to suggest to our potential clients? Never advice. And I know we make a mistake on those words. We're used to saying the word advice, but it is so critical that we understand, especially for those in Australia, because we've had so much of information given to us, due diligence done by a forensic accountant who's above us in this, and she's been in it longer. And the seriousness of it is that we need to be serious about making sure we don't use the word advice. So suggest, and just get them anything to do with legalities, let them talk to their accountant. You can suggest what you do. Yeah, no, not a condemnation, Valerie, at all, but I'll use you as an example. Won't burn you at the stake, I promise. So just, guys, very important. The other thing was on the scams. Can I suggest to you, as Pop said, a lot of the scams is nothing new on TFXI. Most of them are recycled. Is when someone sends it to you, just ask them, when was this published? What was the date on this? Just do some of your due diligence. Don't panic and then throw it in the group. Just hold back as a QIB and think, okay, let me think through this myself as well. Because if you're panicking, then chances are you're not convinced it's not a scam. So I would suggest that you need to convince yourself. I'm 99.99999% sure it's not a scam. I always will reserve 0.00001%. But that's why I always say to people, even if it is a scam, put in only what you're willing to lose.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's my side. Like I'm happy. I wouldn't be happy losing the money I've got in there, but I've recovered all my capital time and time again. And I'm walking in with that risk, and I'm using the money from there to build my other assets. So just be open with people on that.
Yep.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. And also, guys, when we talk about, like what Ruben said, when you talk to customers and don't push them, right? Don't push them. If they're still asking a lot of awkward questions, if you can't answer, you think it's still a valid question, you can say, okay, I'll find out and I'll come back to you, right? But if they keep asking you over and over the same questions about scam and they don't, you say, just look, hey, this, thank you very much. As we like to be straight friends. When you're ready to, if you think about it again, if you're ready to invest, let me know. Otherwise, it's okay. No offense taken. Okay, just walk away. For me, when I talk to 10 people, I probably get not even one, maybe once in a blue moon, who will ask these silly questions, and I just talk to them. Hey, look, okay, let's agree to disagree, and we obviously this is not for you. I will walk away. And the second thing is, use your own personal story. Nobody can dispute your story. If I tell them, they may say, oh, this is a scam. Yeah, I say, thank you very much. If you think it's a scam, I've been paid very handsomely for the last 7 years. I'm happy with that. And I pulled back all my prop capital. I'm getting, as Rueben said, I've been getting multiples of all times the commission and all that. I'm okay. I'm comfortable with that. And I explain to them, normally any scam within 2 years, they will close shop. Guaranteed within 2 years, they will close shop. That's what happens, right? So here we got a company that's gone for 2009. So, you need to be mature in addressing that. Don't dispute with them, listen to them, and then answer them from your experience, right? Don't dispute them. Just always answer from your personal experience. If they don't accept it, it's okay. As we got 3/4 of the world population as opportunities, right? So don't worry about it. Now, a couple of other things that we want to talk to you about is, a lot of people have been having problems with consent form, getting applications approved within. For me personally, every time I put in, within 2 to 3 days, I get for Australia, within 2 to 3 days, I get the applications approved. For Malaysia, within less than 24 hours. Right, where there is no consent form required, is very fast. Where there is a consent form, it is, for me personally, 2 to 3 days is done. Why? Because I'm very, very careful in validating this. I even advise my clients who are applying for themselves by themselves. I give them very strict instruction and very clear instruction how they should complete the forms. For example, passport must be correct. The signature on the passport must match the consent form signature. Right, the residence document must be less than 3 months old. The consent form must be current, no more than 2 days old. Right, and the consent form must match, the signature must match the passport, or any photo ID, it's got a signature, you must match it. The name must be exactly as it appears on the passport. Right, and sometimes they don't put the citizen nationality correct. Australia, you put Australia. Sometimes they put Australia, it get kicked back. Simple. So we have a responsibility not to waste the time of TFX side, people who are reviewing the application. So we need to vet our customers' application before it goes out. Right? It makes a lot of sense, and it expedites the approval and also saves TFX a lot of time. So be careful, and especially with companies. If you're talking about companies, I think I won't talk about companies and self-managed. We're going to talk about that on Saturday. We will give you exactly how that needs to be done. Right. So this is where, again, today someone called, one of my friends, one of the investor QIB called me. He's been struggling for 2 weeks to get his company registration done. Right. So, but again, personally, I was giving you some advice how this needs to be done. Okay, so you must also understand, if we make mistakes or our customers make mistakes, it's also delaying other applications, TFX, because TFX got to respond to you to say why this is not accepted, why this is rejected. So we need to give, help TFXI by making sure everything is done up accordingly, according to what the document is expected by TFXI. Okay, so this is something, and the other one is I wanted to talk about was.
Sorry, can I add as well that application?
Yeah.
A couple of things that I've noticed, guys, is that some people are doing new applications when they make a mistake. And so when you start doing multiple applications of the same person, that's very confusing as well. The second thing is don't start an application till you've got all the documents.
Yeah.
Because when you start an application, then you go back and try to add more. The system is not geared for that well enough. So the best outcome you will get, and look, there are still cases where everyone's done everything right and it's not gone through, and that's perfectly fine. But as long, get all the applications first. So I literally create a folder. I put in my proof of ID, proof of residence, consent form, and I ask them if I'm doing it for someone, I get them to sign the consent form without the date. So I add the date in, just so that, again, I'm not frustrated with, oh, it took a few more days and now it's an old one and they won't accept it. And when I do that, I'm finding, just like Pops, 2 to 3 days, we are getting it secured and done. Now, the other thing is when you do check things like your proof of ID, if it's not clear to you, it's not clear to them because they're manually checking it. Please don't fudge and say, oh, I'll just put it through and hope for the best.
Yeah.
It'll come back. And the moment it comes back, that's when the delays take, because their response to once they've assessed it and need more information is taking a long time. So if you can get everything right at the start, they're happy, you're happy. Pops Matthew said the consent form as well. Please check you've got the latest consent form. If you're not sure, it's in our Dropbox link. Start using the latest consent form, and then make sure you have the second field is Australian, whereas the first and third are Australia or New Zealander. It's pedantic, but they refuse it otherwise. And one thing I love about it is that they're out to protect us as much as themselves. So that anti-money laundering, the protection is there, and they're doing this they're physically looking at this. This is not an automated system. Okay. Yeah. So just to add to that, documents, right? Look at the documents yourself. I had someone send me a document on proof of address, and the name there was not matching with the proof of ID. So I sent it back. I didn't just put it through and hope for the best, because they're going to send it back, and now it's going to take even longer. Yeah. Had someone send me a passport, it wasn't very clear. I couldn't see all the numbers. So send it back. Could you please send it back? Prepare your documents, get it all ready, and then send it through.
Exactly. Now, the next one is I want to talk about is internal transfer. Many people have been caught with internal transfers. They cannot do internal transfer from their account to another account. Now, we have identified this only applies to customers who got a Chinese passport from China, mainland China, not for any other nationality, right? The reason why TFXI is blocking internal transfer for passport holders from China, even though they may be living in Australia anywhere, is because recently there have been a lot of hacking going on in China, where customers' accounts been hacked, and there's been a lot of internal transfer taking place. Money has been taken out, transfers been taken out. That is why now they've introduced a two-factor authentication, because apparently most of those passwords were very weak, like ABC123 and that sort of thing. So this is why they put a block on all internal transfer for any Chinese passport holders. So the way, if you got some customers, you let me know, I will send you, they got a special Excel sheet form that you need to fill up as the QIB on behalf of your clients, and then put their name, the account number, and then you give it to, we give it to me or Rueben or Dr. John. We will then upload it directly to the Asia Pacific office, and they will process it and lift all those blocks. So just to let you know, that is an issue that is also taking place right now. Any other questions, guys?
With the consent form as well, if you have a long name, make sure you write it bold at the top. Do not shorten your name. Do not write like, I've got 4 names like John Edmond Pojo J. You cannot write like John Edmond K. you can write like the abbreviation KJ, it will be rejected, you know, because of legality. You need to write everything, you know. Yeah.
I've put the Dropbox link as well in the in our QIB group. So that's got a whole lot of information there for you and for your IBs that you can start to help others as well. Pops, I think YC is here. She also had some one specific for Malaysia, but it'll also help all of us. So YC, are you able to share some of the resolution handling?
Yeah, to me, I usually tell them that, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
They usually say scam. Okay, Malaysians, they're always worried about scam. I would tell them, why not, if you scared, just put 1,000. But you see, our ringgit is falling. 1,000 is now 4,500 plus. So it's also actually a lot of money. And I will tell them that I started with 1,000 for 6 months. And that time it was Victoria, the fund. I just put it there and I watch. So I tell them the same thing that you can, if you think it's a scam, well, can you give 5 weeks? 5 weeks, you know, go to PAM fund and then see if you're happy. Or if you think you want to come out, after 5 weeks, take it out. Yeah. But recently I had, she herself is a QIB. For some reasons, okay, she was doing detachment, attachment. For some reason, she's decided to go attach to a main fund. And when I saw it, I checked with her. I asked, is this by mistake or did, no? She actually thought that it was the same. I said, no, if you go to the main fund, you are committed for 12 months, unless you are willing to lose the first, what do you call it? The
First cycle profit.
Will be some penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we need to stress to people, if they do not have a 12-month time to play with, they want to come out, they need the funds 6 months down the line or something, to always stress that go for PAM. You see, previously, no problem because the main funds were all full. But the last few cycles, you notice that GMC has got some, yeah, in the main fund, you can enter, is 6% there or something, the vacancy. And I think AMG as well. So that was when the people made mistake, those people who detach and attach. Yeah. I have a few people who started with 1K, 1,000 last year, and it's now 2K. They're all very happy. One of them actually took, two of them were students, actually took the government loan, government loan money to put here. The father asked them, why not you just put here? I'm sponsoring you anyway, I'm paying you your fees and all that, and you got this little bit of loan from the government. And so these two boys put in and they reached 2K, double it. Yeah. So these are some of the things, yeah, that's happening here, this side. Yeah.
We don't normally advise using money, borrowed money, but hey, if your father's got a rich father's going to guarantee it, then go for it. I think it's a good idea.
See,
I like that idea.
I think in Malaysia, if you come from a certain income background, you can get the interest-free loan from the government. Wow. And for these two boys, the father is still paying for all their fees. So the loan was going to become like their pocket money. So that's why, yeah, the father said, why not you just put in here, lock it in.
Awesome.
Didn't want them to spend it, so make them put it into TFX side. Yeah, so it's not that they went to borrow money to put in TFX side. It was that the money was already there. Yeah, it's a student loan kind of thing. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Michelle. The question you're answering is, look, actually, the first cycle is where there will be some differences. If you put in the main fund, you'll get the full amount anytime if there's a gap. But in the PAM, if you put in the first cycle, depends on when you're putting your money in, you're attached, right? Because if they've already opened trades and then you're coming in after the trade is open, you'll not get the full amount in the first cycle. But subsequent cycle is the same. Okay, it's just the first cycle, there could be a difference. Okay, guys, any other questions?
Just to reiterate something about loans, because we do have people in Australia that say, let me take out of my home loan, put money in, or let me borrow some money to put. We don't recommend that at all. But in some cases, if you have put extra money in and stuff, look, at the end of the day, it's your decision. But it is something that I wouldn't tell you to go telling other people as investors, hey, why don't you borrow money from your home loan and put it in there? But like, for example, I have extra money in my home loan that's not part of my normal payments. They're offset, so it's like a savings. If I want to do that, yeah, that's okay. But just be aware, guys, that you don't, as QIBs, advise anyone or even suggest. We highly suggest don't borrow to invest here, because you're still putting money into a high risk portfolio and platform. So that's something just please be aware of. However, what YC said is a different situation altogether. That's like if you got a loan and someone is guaranteeing it for you, oh, hey, that's okay. That's a different situation.
Exactly.
But in general, please don't borrow
I think we got to be very, very transparent. That don't ask people to go and refinance the house and get some extra money. Those are not what we should be doing, because you're putting burden on them, and let them not be motivated by that. Rather than whatever they little have, they can start with that first. As we can see in the compounding, if they really play patient, always talk about this is a long-term play. This is not a short-term gain. Minimum of at least 5 to 7 years before we see a decent return, because that's when the compounding starts to really kick in and start working. So be there for the long haul. But if they want to, we can always encourage them to take out the capital once they double their capital. Take out the capital, let the profit run, so they got, it's risk-free. So these are some of the tips that we can give them. We need to be experts. They need to look at us as professionals in what we advise. We are the experts, right? So when you start, when you need to become an expert in this TFXI, then people will listen to you, and they will, there'll be very little resistance, right? And that's what it's all about. So, so we need to be very, very careful with the choice of words. Like as what Rueben said, don't say we advise. No, we can't give advice, right? We can say this is our view, but you need to take your own choice decision or advice. So because we are not financial planners, we are not licensed financial planners, we're only talking from our point of personal experience, personal testimony. That's how we're talking from our personal experience. Okay. Is the main fund required to stay in the fund for longer term, whereas PAM can detach every cycle? Yes, you're right. It's easier because there's no penalty when you detach from PAM, but from the main fund, if it's less than 12 months, there is a penalty. You lose the first cycle profit. Yes. Okay. Any questions, guys? Before we almost time's up.
And just about the main fund for Michelle and anyone else. Listen, QIBs, we've got a lot of investors jumping in new, so it'll be good if you guys are asking some good questions. Prep yourself, get knowledgeable about this, so you can help all the new ones coming in who are going to ask these same questions as well. So in one of the good things is in all the funds that I've seen, if you go to the main one and you're going to attach, it actually has that information there, maturity 12 months.
12 months, yeah.
It doesn't. Some of the other things you'll find with the main fund is there is a window in which you can invest money, and there's a window in which you can pull out. So you can attach and detach. Whereas for PAM, you can attach anytime. But detaching, I think within
It's
a few
still 3
days.
days after profit. Within 3 days after profit. Yeah.
Correct. So it's good to know the difference, but it's all, most of that information that we're sharing with you is in the actual fund manager when you go to attach. And that's great, because that's what I love about this. It's so transparent that we don't have to wait for knowledge from somebody. Feel free to ask us, but I would just really recommend, as QIBs now, that you guys grow in your knowledge so you can actually contribute in our Telegram group as well. If you get something wrong, we'll help to correct that without shaming anyone. We'll correct it and help you guys. But it's good to contribute and help the others as well. Can I detach PAM before 35 days cycle? You can detach PAM at any time. Sorry, you can detach from a PAM after the 5 weeks.
No, detach is within 3 days after the profit distribution, you can detach. But attach, you can attach anytime in PAM.
If you need funds urgently, you're going to have to. The urgency is that your money is locked in for 5 weeks. That's kind of what the way.
Yeah. Now, Valerie, your question about will PAM ever be capped? We don't know. We got no idea, right? Let's hope it doesn't. That's all we can say. Right.
Yeah, Will, Peng, good question there. We've had a few fund managers who've closed, and they closed very gracefully, and they released all the money. Victoria was the one that I personally was involved in the past, and Pops, and they closed the fund very gracefully, gave us an opportunity to pull out our capital, and any capital, once they stopped trading, all that capital that was invested was returned to the investors. So the broker itself, yes, online, as we get new fund managers, like we're trialing out a new fund manager, which we'll let you guys know in due. Well, we've already told you about the Takami, which we'll let the other know over time. So as we test it ourselves, we'll suggest, we can't advise, we'll suggest here some returns worth you testing out as well. I suggest you test it out with your, not with your capital, but with your interest from some of the other funds returns, some of the profits. So that your risk is lowered as well. Yeah, as new fund managers come in, we test them, and we'll give you all the reports that we know.
And also there are 1 or 2 cases where the fund manager has been suspended by TFXI as a platform broker because they were not complying with the terms of trading as fund managers within the platform. There is one recently, I think was called Ramesh China, is a fund that was in China. And so what TFXI did was it shut down the fund and return all the money that is there but to the investors. So this can happen as well, because they also, as a broker, they got a responsibility to oversee the regulatory aspect of these fund managers, because otherwise they can lose their license. So that's why they do that as well.
But just a note on that is none of the fund, we've never had a fund close that was recommended to us that's had a problem. So they've never had a fund that was, then there are funds on TFXI that are not recommended. And so if you want to put money in there, like I know a friend of ours, his son put money, adult son put money in a fund that had like, nobody had invested in, none of us had recommended it. So I was just testing it out because it looked like a really good return of 20%. The next month, everything gone. Like you just have to be careful, like talk to people. And if they have put money in and they recommend it, great. If they haven't, don't. One important thing we've realized is not to be greedy. We're slow and steady, but I mean, when we say slow, we're faster than TFXI platform is much faster than most people trying to grow wealth. But it's still a slow, steady stream in the sense of this being a high risk, fast paced platform.
Will TFXI open an account in Australia? I think it's Arinda, is it? I think so. Look, we don't know, because if they want to open any country, they need to open an office, they need to have a license in that company, in that country. And that takes a lot of time and effort. And, you know, the TFS got to pay tax in that country as well. So that's why they don't usually, they're very happy that they have pretty much in most of the European countries, they have licenses. So that's why they don't. That's why sometimes you get, like recently we saw someone posting from the Malaysian Central Bank. They've sort of they said be cautious of TFXI, and a few other credible funds were also posted in that in their watch list. It doesn't mean they're not good companies. It's just that they don't have a license to operate in Malaysia. So the central bank just alerts them or put on the watch list, hey, if you're trading on this, they're not registered in Malaysia, so be careful. That's what it means. It's not means it's illegal.
Good question. Michelle, anything else to add? One of our administrators, just want to make sure.
Valerie, sorry, one question. Your Valerie Rottenberg exclusive is a private group. Valerie is not open to anyone else. They've already is a minimum of $100,000 investment, and it's closed. It's basically full. They're not taking any more.
I personally, when I did my check some months ago, I couldn't find an advantage because they were returning about the same.
Same. They get actually they copy trading the same thing. Yeah.
Correct. They did go slightly higher a few months ago than the normal account, but all in all, you can put your 100K into just the Yuri Rodenberg or the PAM, and you'll get as good a returns.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would I want to put 100K in exclusive and I can put 20, 20, 20 in over the 5 funds and I probably get better return?
Or possibly move the 500, that 100K, if you've got, like, if you're distributing, move that towards even Tokyo's Finest, because at the moment,
Yeah.
Tokyo's Finest and GMC are giving us our best returns.
Yeah.
Good question. And
All right.
if
I think we time's up. Anybody got any final question? Otherwise, we're going to wrap up. So thank you guys for those who joined us for 3 weeks. This video will be posted tomorrow, and take time, go through, listen to it over and over and again. There are some good slides there like today that you can take and use it yourself. There are some good answers to questions that you will get from your clients as well. So, but again, you need to spend the time. Even if you go through these slides once every week, each one of them, it only takes you about 40 minutes, but it's going to be gold for you. The information that you're going to that you're going to receive from that is incredible. How to join what?
I'm going to send the.
Oh, QIB WhatsApp group. Okay.
I'm just going to put the invitation. So I'm going to try and copy the invitation here, because if you've done the training, you can join in. And if you're keen to continue pursuing the business end, because QIB group, we talk on the business end more. Otherwise, stay in just the Telegram group. And if I could link in here, just please personally write on WhatsApp to Pops Matthew, myself, Michelle, Dr. Edmund, or YC. There's 5 of us. We'll send you the link so you can join in.
Yeah, and don't invite any new investors. Put them in Telegram. Don't put them in QIB, please, because they won't know. They will be confused of what's going on here in the QIB group.
Okay, I'm just posting the link here for.
Do you got a question? You got 2 hands up.
Yeah, sorry. Just a suggestion, because this time the QIB training was published in Telegram, where we have got everybody who is 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, new investors, lot of questions, lot of doubts, because a lot of people, as we say in the training, we don't discuss about the business on day 1. We only talk about the investment side. They come in 1 week, they suddenly see this, they come here, they're all confused. I think we should, in the past, I know you were only publishing this in the QIB group, the trainings, not in the Telegram group, but this time it went out to the Telegram group.
Yeah, just let me respond to that. Actually, we have to tell people in the Telegram group, because the ones in the QIB group are in there because they've already done the training, or they have come in and they're going to do the training. So this is to invite the ones in the Telegram group. Yes, there'll be new people, but all you do is advise them. This is the business end. If anyone's interested in tapping into and learning about the 30% side of things. And if they say, what's that? Just advise them, say, this is not for you right now. So we're always transparent to show being aware of to people that in our Telegram group there is a business end, but we don't detail the business end, but we will have to tell people about it, advertise it in that sense in the Telegram group. Otherwise, those who want to advance miss out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But
Yeah.
at this point, I would say just address your groups, guys. Like if someone writes back to you and says, I'm confused, or they join in here and then they write to the IB. And if it's you, I just say to people, someone sometimes writes to me and says, should I be joining the QIB? And I ask some questions. Are you ready to jump into the business end? Oh, no, what's that? I don't think so. I said, just leave it. It'll be on again later.
Yeah, because they also bring up this pyramid thing immediately, after that comes up straight away, because initially when we don't say about the business side and then suddenly it comes up, this is what I've seen, 1 or 2 came to me and that's why I just brought it up. But
to be very clear though, on the presentations, we always make mention there's the business end, but we just don't cover that information. But we always, Dr. John, myself, Pops Matthew, we always do mention there is a business end. So we're always transparent about it, but we've actually said even on my slide, said this is not an MLM. So I think if people are asking the question, maybe to educate the QIBs, and Bino, I'll use you as a good example. Thank you for being open to sharing this. Guys, please don't protect the business by saying there is no business end. Like there is a business end.
No, we don't do that.
We are very open about and transparent, but we don't try to confuse investors because we're just getting into the investment side when we present to them. Now, if they're day old, there's not really much we can filter through right now, except for you, for the ones who have introduced them to say, hey, don't worry about this business end right now. Yeah. Right. Makes sense.
I think it's a level of maturity when they come across, it asks you just say, yes, that is you have now been an investor. If you're looking at now building these as a passive income business, then you jump in and learn about it. That's all. Nothing more to add to it. If they say, no, I'm happy to be an investor, then that's not for you. That's it.
Yeah. I think just a personal thought as well for each of us. Like I used to struggle at the beginning because I went through, I had been through so many MLMs in the past and I was burnt. I didn't like talking about the business end. But once I shifted my mind, remember we talked about shifting our mindset to a business mindset. Now I don't have a problem letting people know what's going on. And if they want to join, they can, but they don't have to. So there's no compulsion, but we're not going to say it's not there because we destroy the ones who want to do it. We take away that opportunity for them. You see? So, but good question. I think it's a good thing to bring up and talk about. Again, we're open, guys, to suggestions. If there's another suggestion, but putting it in the QIB only defeats the purpose of introducing it to the rest of the investors.
Valerie, what do you mean by the AIB training? Valerie, is that?
Typing. The next level.
Oh, next level AIB.
Yes, we will.
That's showing you how to compute commission from the various, from the 30%, right? Yes, we will probably, we haven't decided yet. We'll let you know. We'll just keep you informed.
We do have a video training, Pops, of your,
we have a
what
video,
you did last.
we have a recording from that. You can look at the recording if you want. Yeah.
Just remind me in the next few days, if I forget to do it, I'll look for it on our YouTube channel and I'll pop it onto the WhatsApp group. Yeah. So for those who want more advanced than what we've done here on the commission structure, there is a video that Pops has done, which is excellent. Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
But I think, is everyone else all good?
All good. Anybody got any questions? Otherwise, thank you once again. I just want to thank you guys for your time, for your patience, for supporting us. If don't hesitate to ask us any questions in the group. If you want something new, let us know. We are always there to put together some training for you guys. Because your success is our success. That's the way we look at it. All right.
Congratulations. Well done, guys. All the best. And
give yourselves a clap for graduating 3 weeks. Yeah.
It's exciting. More information, always learning. I actually learned. Thank you also, Pops, for your sharing on week 1 and Dr. John on week 2. I learned more. You can always learn and apply. So well done, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great the
Wonderful
evening.
presentation.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
God
you.
bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The admin and leadership could just stay back, please. We just